Well, third graders, I told you I'd be back, and I am, and so is Stella. I guess she enjoyed that story so much, didn't you, that she wants to hear the rest of the chapter. So she's going to join us again, and I have a bone here for her. So I'm going to go ahead and give it to her because she loves her treats. Okay. All right. We left off with Robin and brother Luke and John and the Wind. They're still traveling. They went through Oxford and now they're in the country and they're trying to get to Peter de Lindsay's house. They're probably going to be traveling for a couple more days. All right. I'm going to reread what I read already, just this little paragraph. I think I read that. Oh, sorry, you guys. I'm trying to remember where oh, yes, that's right. They're at the woodcutter's house. Remember? That's where they stopped. They're going through the forest and they found the woodcutter's house and it's night and the woodcutter has welcomed them. And now we will start there. For the most part, the road, no, that's not, I'm going to start. Sorry, I'm backing up. When true daylight arrived, okay, they were spending the night at the woodcutter's house. When true daylight arrived, they had come to the edge of the wood, and now the hills stood all about, being very high toward the north, where the Welsh mountains loomed in the blue distance. For the most part, the road lay low among the hills, winding in and out, following the river. A heavy mist hung over the valley so thick it was like a white blanket, which parted only enough for the next step to be seen, then closed in again. When wayfarers were met, that means other travelers, it was as if they had appeared by magic out of nowhere. Once, where the road was narrow, a group of peasants suddenly came out of the mist and stopped to ask their way. Their speech was very strange to Robin, but John Go on the Wind seemed to know what they said, for he directed them in the same strange tongue. They are Welsh, he explained, and have wandered out of their way in the fog. My mother was Welsh, so I know some of the words. There is much trouble with the Welsh along the border, but these seemed like harmless folk. Late in the afternoon, a breeze suddenly sprang up. In a few moments, the mists lifted and the air cleared. Robin looked up in amazement, for there, rising high against the racing clouds, stood a town with a church tower and castle complete. It must be! It was Lindsay! Look, he cried, look, there it is. We have arrived. Remember, he's trying to get to Peter de Lindsay's castle. "'Tis true," agreed John. "'Tis as I hoped. We have arrived before sundown and can enter the castle before the gate is closed. Now, thanks be to him," that means God, "who guided us aright," said Brother Luke devoutly, blessing himself. "Lindsay it is surely," said John, "for only Lindsay stands so on a mound ringed with hills, like a pudding in a saucer. We've but to cross the bridge, go up the hill and through the gate, and we are there. From the market cross," remember the market crosses, they called them butter crosses, or a landmark, a monument right in the middle of the town. And so John in the Wind is saying, "From the market cross, 'tis but a step to the castle gate. It is a happy end to our journey. Beyond the town and castle lives my own mother." So John Go on the Wind's mother lives there in Lindsay as well. They crossed the bridge and started up the hill. Now that he was so near to his destination, Robin dreaded the meeting with Sir Peter. What sort of welcome would he have, limping as he was on crutches? What sort of page could he be, having no free hands for service? Robin need not have been afraid. As soon as they had passed through the outer gate, a messenger went swiftly ahead of the travelers to announce them. The drawbridge was down and the gate opened to them without question, and they were received in the great hall as if they had been emissaries of the king. That means important people who worked for the king. Sir Peter was scarcely recovered from his wounds. Remember, he was fighting in the army, or in the war against the Welsh, but he had or against the Scottish people, but he had to come home soon because he was injured. So he was scarcely recovered from his wounds. He sat in a high-backed chair near the fire, while Lady Constance, that's his wife, sat at her embroidery frame with a small girl leaning against her knee. Nearby were her ladies and two little boys who romped with the hounds, the dogs. When the travelers entered the hall, Lady Constance rose and, drawing the children about her, stood beside Sir Peter to greet them. "It is a true pleasure to welcome you into our household," said Sir Peter to Robin, not seeming to notice that Robin could not straighten up, because remember, his legs are bent. "We are grateful to this good friar for his care of you, and to John Go-in-the-Wind, who is known to us. This is Lady Constance, and our daughter, Allison, and these are my two sons, Henry and Richard." Lady Constance warmly embraced Robin, crutches and all. "We have long awaited your coming, dear child, and now we are most happy that you have safely arrived." "I shall make a sorry page, my lady," said Robin ruefully, "but I can sing and I can read a little to while away the time for your lordship," he offered, "and I can pen letters for you." Sir Peter kept Robin's hand in his and spoke directly to him. "Each of us has his place in the world," he said. "If we cannot serve in one way, there is always another. If we do what we are able, a door always opens to something else." There it was again, Robin thought, a door. He wondered whether Sir Peter meant the same thing that Brother Luke had intended. Each of the travelers was assigned to his own place. Robin was to have a chamber in the keep. The friar was to be lodged in a little room over the chapel in the inner ward of the castle, and John Go-in-the-Wind was given quarters over the outer entrance gate. Before leaving the hall, he asked a favor. "By your leave," he said, "I would like to visit my old mother, who does not live far away. But I shall stay here a while until my young master finds his way about." That means Robin. Now that he was well received, Robin found everything about Lindsay exciting and interesting. The view from the top of the keep where they went in the morning was breathtaking. "I can see for miles in every direction," he said excitedly. "Surely no enemy could attack without being seen by the watch." "Did you forget the fog?" said John Go-in-the-Wind, who had accompanied him. "And look yonder," said Adam, the bowman, who stood watch that day. "See that tiny moving spot in the field?" At first, Robin could not find anything that moved in the open field to which Adam, the bowman, had pointed. Then he was just able to make out the figure of a shepherd and a flock of sheep. After a great deal of Adam's directing and pointing, he could see a woodcutter emerging from the trees by the river. "By night, or under cover of mist," said Adam, "a whole army could creep over a hill and through forest without being seen. 'Tis from the north and west that we look for trouble. Lord Jocelyn to the west hath long desired this domain, and Sir Hugh Fitzhugh to the north yonder, who is cousin to Sir Peter, had a quarrel with him." "But they could not take so strong a castle, surely," said Robin. "We can be starved out," said Robin. From the other side of the tower, Robin could look down upon the town and the church roof and see clearly how the church was shaped like a cross. He could see the roof of the market cross in the open square and the people walking about. He could see the bend of the river and the two bridges, one leading west and the one to the south, where they had crossed yesterday. To the north, the ground fell straight away down to the river more than 100 feet below. "My mother's cottage is there," said John, pointing north, over the hill and into the next valley. Robin could see where the tower of the village church showed above the trees. Beyond, he could see the manor house against a dark forest which crowned the hills far, far away. "Is it near to the village where that church tower stands?" asked Robin. "Aye, 'tis just there the side of the church, a tidy bit of a house on the heath where she lives alone with her cat. There is a path all the way. If you are to call upon her, she would bake thee a bannock." I think that's like a flat cake.